Okay, so I said yesterday that I was going to do a video and show my damage from where I got the car hung up when I was in pursuit of the dog and then got stuck. So I'm on my way over to there, parked at the school, so it's not too much of a trek, but yeah, I will unpause when I get there, I guess. I was just thinking, it's really kind of interesting that like there was this big gap in the traffic, and now like there's this big rush of traffic coming both ways now. So I'm gonna have to wait on that. But yeah, literally just all at once, everyone's through the circles. Okay, so here's my damage. That puppy was all me. So yeah, oops. But so yeah, when I was talking about feeling like I was kind of blocked on everything, it's like just I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It just seems like there was a whole bunch of things standing in my way of continuing the pursuit, and probably because I'm hella stubborn and would have stayed after that dog as much as I possibly could have. I think if I would have just made sure my dogs were, had the windows down enough and were seatbelted where they were supposed to go, I could have just left them there and run a little bit, and I would have gone as far as I possibly could have. But alas, I got hung up, and then it just stopped everything. And it's a good thing that I stopped on that, because I hadn't got the dog seat belted. I hadn't checked the windows to make sure they were at an okay spot. I don't think mine would have taken off out the windows, but Taz isn't above getting out enough to fall out. So anyway, I wasn't trying to take any chances on my 3 either, and once I got stopped, it just kind of brought it to a screeching halt. So that said, I think I'm going to find me a new location and go finish out somewhere else. But yeah, I just wanted to show my damage, so I will be back. Alright, so my quick little journey over to the mud hole made me realize it's really fucking nice today. It's apparently like 56. So if it hadn't been raining all day and there's puddles everywhere, I'd go sit on the curb, but not gonna do that because it's all wet. It's 3:33. And my timer was literally at 3:33 as I said that. But also, seriously, 3:33. So these synchronicities are kind of off the chain, really. So, I walked my dogs over here earlier, of course, the baseball diamonds, which are a little bit that way. Actually over where I was parked to wander out into the road. That was where Piper took off from. And now I'm over here, the football, the parking lot for the practice field. And okay, so when I was walking the dogs earlier, and I was just thinking, how aggravating this whole situation is, and feeling blocked, right? And as I was walking the dogs, it's like, but this isn't really anything new. This feeling of being blocked from where I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to be doing, I feel like that's something that's been like a common thing throughout my life, right? And then to see it play out in like these different ways with the shit with the dog. So like, when she okay, when I realized she wasn't wearing her collar anymore, it's like we looked at each other and made eye contact, and it was like that was the precise moment we both realized she was not with me anymore. And with that dog, if you look at her, she bolts. Like she knows her name, but she also runs away from it. But you look at her, she automatically just takes off. And when I looked at her, because I was realizing that she was no longer with me, she took off. So, and then there was, I had my dog, so it wasn't my quick thinking didn't go really super well at that point in time. But even in the moment, I felt like there was a bigger purpose for this whole thing, right? And then, when I got the car hung up, that seemed like another one of those things. But, since that brought me to a screeching halt, and that was where I lost sight of her altogether, then I'm standing there waiting on family to show up to help me get unstuck and figure out what we're doing and all this crap. It's like immediately, because car's hung up and dog is missing, it was just like this flood of thoughts going in my head very quickly. What I needed to do first, how to proceed on anything. I knew I wanted to get it posted that she had taken off before too much time had passed, so people could be on the lookout, right? Gonna get the word out there that way. Since I'd already lost sight of her, so that wasn't going to change, since I, just because I had the moment to think about what was going on, right? But then as I'm standing there waiting on my uncle to get there to help me get my car out of the mud, then I have the bald eagles that are flying overhead, right? So it's like they were just like, they have continued to be these little things that have popped up where it's like actively feeling blocked, or part of it too, I think, is learning to go with the flow, because this is that's a big thing that happened, and all at once it's like can't go this way, and so I've got to stick on this one. Not really stick on a single path, but kind of in a way bounce off the barriers and keep flowing, right? Even though I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea what my next exact step is until I'm in the middle of making it, or somebody that I encounter through this process of getting, putting all the posts out there. Something that they say along the line, it's like, yes, I need to do that too. Those kind of things, right? So it's like, that's the guidepost at this point, is wandering, just doing one thing at a time, because there's nothing more I can do other than follow the flow that I am currently in, right? But today, there was this thing that happened. Okay, so missing dog. First off, we do not say lost dog, because lost implies that, it's gone, right? So, she's currently missing in action, but just because I can't see her doesn't mean she won't be found, right? I feel like a lot of times with those lost posts, you tend to set yourself up with the idea of it's more difficult to find. So, on that end of things, I was over here getting ready to walk my dogs earlier, and Gidget got all cuddly all at once. And I was petting her, and I realized the back of my little alien earring had fallen off. It's like, well, because I just pulled it right out. Immediately I felt that it was gone. And then when I, tugged on the earring and it came right out, then it's like, obviously, it's like, not lost. We have not lost anything. We have just temporarily misplaced it, right? And so, I just went ahead and took both my little purple aliens out and left them in the car when we were walking. Actually, no, I found it before. I was looking in my hood. I was looking down my shirt. I found it in the little cup holder right here. And it just felt like it's one of those things where the universe is preparing me on this, finding things, right? It's like it was just there and then it wasn't, but we have not lost it. We are not going into the mindset of, now I can't find it. It's just, we don't see it at this moment, right? So, that said, I'm putting missing dog on the signs, but, still gets the point across. Maybe more complicated and slightly more letters and everything, and 2 syllables to 1, but trying to keep it in my mindset that she's missing in action, but she will be back, right? But then I feel like some of these other, because there's been a few things that have been like temporarily missing, but then you find them and it's like, okay, right? I'm having issues with the backs of earrings currently. And okay, so the little studs that I wear most of the time, I have 2 sets of them. I have a smaller set and a bigger set. And they have like the regular earring backs on them. But while they were at the store, they also had little rubber backs on them, right? Because the other ones don't stay on for shit. So, as I've been taking off the little rubber ones, I've been leaving them in the container because it's like, obviously, since these backs don't stay on, I want these still available, right? And I've been switching a lot of them out, so the little rubber ones instead. And like last night, one fell. I'm pretty sure it fell into the bag of toilet paper because I heard it hit the plastic. And the extra toilet paper that I have in my bathroom at this point in time is just right under the toilet paper holder and next to the sink, right? So that's exactly where I put my earrings on. So it makes sense. It sounded like it at very least hit the bag, if not went in the bag. Since there are still a few rolls in there, I wasn't, and I had other backs of earrings that I could find and use in the meantime. I don't worry about looking too deeply for it, but I'm aware of roughly where it's at, right? So then today this happens and like the back completely comes off. It's like, I know it's in this car, but, didn't know where exactly. And I think it was... I think Taz tried to get in my face too, and that was the reason I happened to move my line of sight to the cup holder, and then it's like, there it is. We can wear these earrings after all. We don't have to take them off and leave them in the car while we walk. Aliens wanted to go on a walk today too, so. But anyway, so it just feels like there are little things that are coming up that are teaching me more about going with the flow and just letting life lead me where I'm meant to go, right? And, even when it's something that's relatively frustrating when I don't want to lose my earring by any means, but at the same time, it's not like it's a huge pressing issue, right? It's way less significant than the dog being missing. But it's not anything I can do about the dog being missing other than what I can do, right? And like what I feel led to do. And, we spent a couple days looking and it's been hella rainy again. And I think it's supposed to snow like 3 inches on Saturday or something. There haven't been any more sightings that we've heard of since Sunday morning. Somebody said they saw her on the main road that way, which is a really busy road. But she was still in between this road and the next, east-west road. So, the next north-south road labeled west, right? Yeah, however that works. Who the fuck cares? I get it. I know what I'm talking about. Sorry if you don't get it, but I'm not trying to explain the whole area either. But she still was within, a couple miles. So that was the last sighting. Then there was the possibility where the psychic said she saw her in a house, in a white room that she thought was a kitchen. But obviously we can't do anything to confirm that, and if somebody has her, which honestly would be the best case scenario for getting her back, because she would be caught already, right? So yeah, so I got another poster at another vet today, but since it's raining, I can't hang any more outside. I've driven by the majority of the outside ones that were hung, and one of them fell down because the back of it had gotten wet, and the staples, my uncle hung it, and he put 4 staples on it, and it was fine, except for then it got rained on, and then it fell off the sign, or fell off the thing. So when I saw that one was down, and I was pretty sure I saw where it was at, I ended up, after I went to the vet and told them the dog was missing, and they were going to hang a sign for us, and the girl that I was talking to said her mom lived out this area too, so she would, pass the information on to her as well, so she could keep her eyes open for it. On the way back, I stopped over there, because it was one of my really good friends' houses when we were in high school. So, that house is right along one of the main walking trails in this area, so it was perfect, we'll put one right there, right? And well, it fell off, so now we gotta wait on that one to dry and see how it dries to see if we can still use it, because everything, the paper got wet, but it didn't really make the ink run or anything, so I think we'll still be able to use it. Just obviously make it a little more waterproof. It's an ordeal. But it also gives us the heads up on making this better, how we can make it better, right? So it's frustrating, but there again, it's still forward motion, and I was thinking too, I feel like part of the purpose of this whole thing is specifically that going with the flow, yes, but also there's something else that's distracting enough that I can't focus on anything in particular too much, right? So, I've talked a lot about the twin flame stuff on here. That's something that highest timeline scenario, and trying to keep myself in that more of that high vibe state, to go through life and see what happens. I feel like this whole situation with the dog is just something to, make where that has to specifically be put on the back burner. Now we have all these distractions that are coming up, and we have to keep moving on what we can do in the physical space, because that's the biggest issue. It's there have been times throughout my life that I have had this idea of what I wanted or whatever, and then sometimes I've been able to manifest it into my real life space, and then sometimes it's there's that gap, right? There's the gap between this other timeline existence, or the spiritual space takes place to manifest into the physical space is the biggest thing, right? So I have my highest timeline scenarios but the physical takes a while to catch up. And it's very, I don't know, I think I think that's been one of my biggest frustrations in life, is that I, might be able to see and know something that I want, but then for the right pieces to fall into place with it, I feel like that's been where I've been more inclined over the years to give up. Like when you hear the stories about people who almost gave up on something, and then it ended up being the thing where, like their life or career or whatever went to a completely different level, right? It's like I've had the chronic state of giving up before anything could happen because it just never seemed like it was working out in my favor, right? So I feel like this is one of those scenarios where it's like, now you have to deal with this other thing that is complicated and it is very distracting in the physical space, but still try to stay in the higher frequency space to allow the possibility for the right pieces to come together, right? So how are you doing this, right? So like the universe is, this is a big test. It's like, cool. But also, it's just like everything at once, really? Okay. I guess we'll wing it and see what happens, I guess. But, yeah. I had a thought in there while I was in the middle of meandering that way, and now I don't remember the thought. Yeah, it feels like also because there's so much to do during the day-to-day stuff now. And like today was, okay, I didn't even know what was going to happen today, but I figured more science would be involved, whether making or whatever else. But then, okay, so I've mentioned that my mom was buying a new TV. And she got a mount for it so it could be mounted above the fireplace. And today was the day it was scheduled to, the guys were coming out to hang it up, right? And it's a 65-inch TV, and on the website they said, one person for a 65-inch TV. She went ahead and requested 2 people to come in because it's going over the fireplace and it's not an easy place to hang things, right? And, like anytime I've ever had to paint it, everything is down off of the fireplace and I'm standing on top of the fireplace. But the fireplace isn't that big. It's big enough to stand on and not worry about falling off. But still, if you're trying to hang something into the wall, especially a 65-inch TV, it's ideal to have another person, right? Because one person cannot do that by themselves just with the awkwardness of the space. Only one guy showed up, right? So I had my dogs in the room. He got there early, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to leave him there. We're going to be good. I got my clothes, and then I went out to the bathroom. Then I realized I forgot something, so I went back in there. The problem was, when I went back in there, then the dogs are like, why are you locking us in here? What's going on out there that you're not letting us check out? Right? So then they started barking. The first time, when I just, took my stuff and left, it was like, okay, what's happening? But then when I went back in and then left again, and they still got locked up, they were like... And of course, they have access to looking out the window, so they probably saw the guy's truck was out there at that point too. But anyway, only one guy showed up. So he got the mount all hung up and everything, and there was some glue, I guess, that to secure it better. I don't know all the details of the thing, but I had just walked into the room and was getting ready to grab my dog's leashes. I was putting my sweatshirt on. I caught like 333 and 444 again, just in that little minute and a half span or whatever. Anyway, so I walk in the room and I was talking to my mom, and the guy asks my dad that since the other guy didn't help, if he could help lift the TV up. And of course, my dad cannot do that. He is not, like, just the process of him standing up, he almost fell over like 3 times. And I was like, I gotcha. So I just, like, took my sweatshirt back off and went over there. And he was like, where'd you come from? It's like, yeah, I just appear sometimes. That's how I roll, right? But anyway, I ended up helping him get this thing up there, and it's a really damn heavy TV. Thankfully, it's a flat screen, so it's not like, like those old tube things were, but fuck. So we get it up on the fireplace, and, he's talking about what we're going to need to do, and it's like, so we're going to need another stool, right? So I went and grabbed the ladder from outside, or out in the garage, and brought it in. It's like, okay, so what are we doing exactly? And he was trying to explain it, and I was like, I'm going to need to be up there. So the nice thing is, with his little skinny TV, not on the stand, because it came with feet, but, obviously the feet didn't go on it there. I don't know why my light shifted. But anyway, I climbed up onto the fireplace. He's like, whoa. It's like, I got this. I've been up here many times, right? I'm the one that paints and does all that stuff. So anytime somebody's on the fireplace, it's me. So I was standing up there and, looking over the TV to figure out what he was talking about. And it's like, I'm sure it's fine, but like the way the TV and the mount work, it was like, there was like this little piece, like not even the full length of my fingernail that clipped onto this other piece. It's like, I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I don't love it, but I'm going to trust that the people that, or the guy that's hanging it, and has hung these things many times, knows what he's talking about and knows that it's going to be okay. But it's like, ooh, not a fan of knowing how little there is securing that right there. But it was kind of weird though, because when I went to climb down off the fireplace, it's like, whoa, be careful. He was like, do you need me to lift you down? It's like, no. I got this. I got up here. I'll get back down. It's like, no, I don't need anybody lifting me off the fireplace, especially not some complete stranger that I've only spoken to in the past 3 minutes. Now, if it was a life or death situation, then maybe that'd be another story. But just for, I climbed up here because this TV needed to go on this mount on the wall. Yeah, I'm good. And while it is high enough that I wouldn't want to jump from the fireplace to the floor, if need be, I could have done it. Like I said, I don't break things, so yeah. But I don't know, it's just a weird thing. But like the whole thing, it's just like, here's this, for the time frame that the dog goes missing, it's also the same week that all this other stuff is scheduled. Like yesterday was when the furniture came. Today was when the mount got hung up. Excuse me. And that guy's apparently going to come back to help, excuse me, with the putting the sound bar together. He said it'll either be this afternoon or sometime tomorrow morning, since the other guy didn't show up. But yeah, he and my mom traded phone numbers, so they were going to figure it out from there. But yeah, so, like just the time frame for the dog to slip her collar and all this stuff to happen. It was after it rained a few days, so then I got my car hung up. But then also, I mean, it's not been too bad, but we're getting ready to have snow. On the other hand, if it does snow and she is still outside, she'll be easier to find, and then she will be, a black and white dog, mainly black on a white surface, and that would be helpful. But I don't know. In the meantime, more rain today, which, slows down the progress of putting any more signs outside. Yesterday I mentioned that my mom was, kind of, we're at the point again where I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and helping the family again. So, she's, asking more of me again. It's like, see, that's another level of this whole, it's like this divine training ground that I'm in. Like, now I have all these things that are coming up, and how are you going to navigate through this experience while maintaining your own boundaries and not getting caught up in what everybody else pulling at you, where that goes, right? How are you going to maintain your own autonomy? I don't know. Basically, I guess, because, I wasn't raised to be my own person. And that's something that literally this whole YouTube space has been my processing through how to be my own person. What person do I want to be, right? What does it look like to not be somebody that's constantly pulled into the family's chaos all the time, right? Or as Jerry Wise would talk about it, self-differentiation. How do I maintain that while also learning how to navigate this thing with this missing dog that involves lots of people coming together to, make it work, find her. And I think that's kind of something that's interesting to watch. Like, I know my mom called the animal control people, or animal management, or management services, or whatever they're called now. She called them and talked to a guy, sent him the information, gave him the microchip information. But that's basically been the contribution today. And yesterday she got hung up with the shit with my grandma, right? And yesterday's complaint was knowing that, she's trying to put more on me because now I'm participating again, right? And it's just a really weird space to be. And I feel like there are these, it's like this sort of narrow path that I'm trying to stay focused on what I can do and what I need to do versus what I need to allow somebody else to do. And today her big thing has been, she keeps asking me if I went to the library to make the other copies yet. And there's no reason she couldn't do that. So, the biggest thing is I go to the library a lot. I don't have a problem with it. But there again, this is a dog I didn't want. That said, that doesn't mean I want anything to happen to her since she's not there now. I feel, while I don't feel responsible for her being the one, or her escaping her collar and taking off, because yes, she was on my watch, but I was walking her as a favor to them and to her, because it's not fair to her to get this new home and nobody's working with you, right? You don't know where you fit in the group, so she's still very much removed from the pack, but she'll like come in when there's food involved and then she'll take off again. It's like all the rest of them are like, okay, what the hell's going on? But also, if she's not around, give me her snacks, right? But that was exactly why I didn't want another dog, was I didn't want more responsibility to fall on me, because I already have my own 3, and it has been hugely helpful that I've had them on this whole, since my divorce, right? That they have been huge in keeping me moving forward, right? Because with Gidget, she's got all that Australian Shepherd Blue Heeler energy in her that if you don't run her so much a day, she will make your life a nightmare, right? She has every intention of following through on that. So we got her she was born in 2017. So when I left in 2019, she was 2, right? Yeah, just turned. So then, especially at that point in time, because she was so much younger, she had a whole lot of energy and she was obsessive, and you had better be throwing that ball 5,000 times a day and not necessarily an understatement kind of a thing, but it took a lot. And it was one of those things where she's so smart that she's too smart for her own good, really. She learned something from me when we were in Alabama, because she was very ball obsessed and frisbee obsessed. And if I got to a point where I didn't want to play anymore, I would say I couldn't reach it. She got to the point where she would grab it and throw it at my foot. It's like, here it is, you can reach it, pick it up and throw it. So she knows if somebody is more inclined to give up and start doing it again, because there have been several instances, and I caught myself doing it early on, and then I was more aware of it, and I put a block on myself for doing it. When I would say, take a break, and then wouldn't do it anymore. Okay, initially when I started saying take a break, because I needed a break, she would still be pushy about it. And if I was doing something else and wasn't fully giving her my attention, it would become this thing where I told her to take a break, but she knows if she annoys me enough, I'm going to start doing it again anyway, just because I'm not thinking about it. So once I realized that she was doing that, it's like, this dog is playing me, I started being more focused on when I told her take a break, to do something to remove myself from the thing, so she knew we weren't doing it anymore. However, since we've been staying with my parents the past couple of years, they'll say take a break and then start doing it again too. It's like, or, one of my big frustrations in being there is I have said, okay, I had my dogs when I was in Alabama, where they would stay on the other side of the threshold from the kitchen, out of the kitchen, if I was cooking at the stove, because I didn't want them getting in the way and something hot falling on them, right? So they were good about that. Being back home has completely undone that. And Ziva is bad about it now, to the point where I think I was making a single step the other day and she managed to trip me 3 times in the step. It's like, how the fuck does that even happen? I pick my foot up and trip over her, and then I don't even know how it happened, but it was several times where I just was bouncing off that dog trying to take a single step. It's like, damn it, stop it. Well, I don't know why I have a red spot there. Whatever. Anyway. But yeah, she's really bad about that now. And, especially when my mom's in there, she's worse about it. It's like the price she has to pay just for you to drop something, but she knows if you drop something, she's more likely to get it if she's right there, right? So that's the whole point. So they're conniving little hellions, but I love them to death. But also, going back to that point, they are the reason that I've had to keep basically come back to myself, I think, because when I left my ex, of course, that whole process in and of itself was exhausting. But then like I've said many times, when I divorced my ex, I divorced my entire belief system, because I realized my belief system was what got me locked into a toxic situation and feeling like I couldn't get out of it. So, then when you're trying to navigate a new way of being with these things in mind, it's like, okay, my belief system didn't work for me. So what does that mean going forward? What are we believing from here on, right? And there's been a lot of times where I just wanted to shut down and, go curl up into a corner somewhere and disappear. But my little heathen trio have made it very much where I couldn't just do that. Like every other point in my life where, I could just go hide in the bathroom. My dogs don't do that. Like, they don't allow that to happen. It's like, what are you doing? We're going with you. And if we can't go with you, why not? Right? So, and like, it is priority to walk them as much as possible. And, like, the daily walks are fabulous because it helps all of us. But still, it was one of those things that it took a lot of time and effort on my part to work myself through the wanting to curl up and die somewhere, to be able to get back to moving forward. And, forward progress is forward progress, right? So even though I only got one freaking flyer to the vet today, I still got that one flyer to the vet, right? And, nobody else did anything. So there again, for this situation with this dog that I didn't want, because I knew I was going to be the one that would have to deal with all the shit, right? So it would be another story if, when I leave, it was going with me. But since she's supposed to stay with them, they need to be working with her, right? Obviously, that's at a whole standstill now because she's MIA. But still, and I've mentioned on here before too, like that conversation that I had with, where they were trying to, my mom was all bubbly and, do you think Taz would be better with an older puppy or a younger puppy? It's like, no fucking puppy. I do not want a puppy. Well, on that end, we didn't get a puppy. She's like 4 now. But with the work that she needs for being a rescue, and with the situation that she came out of, it might as well be a puppy, because you basically got to undo the damage where you possibly can. I was thinking a lot today about, there's that whole fight, flight, or freeze, and she's very much flight or freeze, right? So she's not a fighter, but she's a runner. But if she gets stuck, then she just quits, right? And then she'll freeze. And I've been finding these other Facebook groups. So see, it's not just one thing, because I've still been working on the social media end of it, right? That's me. Yes, they've shared the stuff that I've posted. I mean, my dad's not. My mom has. Of course, her phone number's on it, so she better be participating. But I was going through and trying to find more pictures to post, just other shots of her. I found a video that I wanted to post of her playing to show that she does play. So people aren't trying to think that we were the ones abusing her or whatever. But yeah, really just makes me sad, because it's like, while I did not want her there starting out, right? Once she became there and became part of the pack, now it's this weird dynamic of, everybody's kind of like, what's going on? Like, all the dogs, they're quiet. I mean, they still want their food, they still want their walking time, and they will go obnoxious when it's time to go on our walks and whatnot. but just like the general pack dynamic, it's shifted again, because it's like, she'll be back when we find her, but at the same time, this little limbo in between space, I don't love the in between space. And I think that's a big part of what this is navigating through too, is like the in between of the physical catching up to the spiritual end of things, and all the work I've been doing, at this other level for the spiritual, mental, emotional stuff, in order for it to trickle down into the physical space and take hold and be able to shift my reality. I'm still in the space where, I was shaped by the things that 555 that got me into that space of the bad ways of thinking, or unproductive ways of thinking, or ways of being in the world, right? The being pulled along by other people's chaos all the time. But now, how do I maintain my frame while there's all this confusion, and while things still need to be done to try to get the dog back? Like, how do we make this space make sense? How do we make it work? And I don't know the answer to that. But I still feel like, with all these weird synchronicities, that I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. And, so that's what I have to roll with, right? I don't think I ever finished that synchronicity part from earlier, after I walked my dogs around the school. Like the whole, it was a little over a mile. We were leaving, and I see this license plate. The first one I see is 567, which that's forward motion, making progress. And then the next one is 999, which is the end of cycles. And then I see another one on this other truck. Now, mind you, there are like 4 vehicles in this parking lot. Right? And I got 567, 999, and then 111. And ones are new beginnings, right? So it's like the progression, that forward motion, continuing to move forward, even when I don't really know how to do so, even when the universe is basically just showing me as we go how to do so, to completely wrap up the one cycle and then get to the new cycle, the new beginnings, right? So it's like everything all together. Yeah. I will say, I like this headspace that I'm able to be in, because, I'm going back to I mentioned yesterday that my mom, she was she walked back home and she got back home Sunday night when I was working on trying to clean the carpet, and was very intentional about saying she didn't blame me. But there's still that lingering energy where I'm supposed to pick up and do all of these things because I'm old enough to do it this time around, because I can be unsupervised in doing life this time around. And, it's like, she said she doesn't blame me, but at the same time, the dog was with me when it went missing. So, or when she slipped the leash and went missing. So there's still that air of, I don't blame you, but it's still kind of your fault. And like the way she was talking to the person on the phone with Animal Management Services, whatever the fuck it is. She said, we had an incident this weekend. It's like, really? I mean, yeah, we kind of did, but why are you saying this in a way that sounds like you're trying to pad the situation, maybe? I don't know. It's like, why don't you just say, we had a dog slip the leash? Why is there still that little hint of something you don't want to say, right? Or you're not willing to say, right? And you could totally throw it out there that the daughter was walking the dog and the dog slipped the lead or the collar. That's okay. Why are we trying to, fluff it? Don't fluff it. Don't fluff it. Just get to the fucking point. Anyway, it's like 50 minutes and trying to keep them shorter. So I'm 15 minutes longer than 10 minutes longer than yesterday's, but 15 longer than the day before. And I was kind of liking that 35 to 40 minute range, but I was on a roll. So, shit happens. It is what it is. And yeah. Anyway, as always, I appreciate you. Until the next time. See ya.